So please describe to me what the aesthetic look is exactly.
Well, like this guy here.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and bring
Oh wow, you really have to come in here?
like this guy.
Is this
No,
is this really happening? He met the other guy behind you, bro. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm right into that bad boy.
You can stay right there, behind the camera, behind the camera. No, see now that you got me jealous now.
That's okay.
That's not
no,
fair.
but you're more in the category like Wilfred Arnold. Okay?
My man. Yeah. Arnold Ferrigno. Huh?
Okay.
Aesthetic. That's great, partner. You two ever go out place everything in its proper place?
That does not make sense, but we usually do go. We head to Kroger's, and we work.
Oh, yeah. I've got a lady waiting for me back home also. She has the most beautiful scrotum. Oh, God! And when she sings, she sounds just like a puppy dog. How do you nail a photo?
Just gotta get in the mode. You gotta talk with your eyes.
Talk with your eyes.
Talk with your eyes. You
Okay,
gotta
so
have the eyes
can
first.
you show me a little bit of something, like to this camera? I would love to know how to do this. I just want to know.
Well,
how
I
do you do it?
mean,
Teach
the
me
smile,
something.
You can get the sexy eyes. Then you know you gotta get the smile. Smile going on some shoes, but you know.
Wait, hold up.
You got.
I gotta
when
try
it's
this
time,
with
when,
you.
it, when it's
Hold
time
on.
to laugh,
I gotta try this
you gotta
with
think
you.
of something funny
All right,
and start laughing.
do it again. Do it again. How do you do it? Teach me.
Sexy eyes.
The sexy eye.
This is sexy eyes right here.
Smizing?
Smile.
So you're smizing.
Smile.
Okay.
And then you gotta get the.
No, I look like I need to take a poop or something.
wish words were like little toy guns. No sting, no hurt, no one, just a bang, bang. Right?
Is that it?
Yeah, it's something like that. Just a bang,
Toy
bang,
guns.
rolling off your tongue.
Toy guns.
It's no smoke, no
Bang, bang.
bullets.
Water guns. All right.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Woo! It's Thursday, baby. We got a lot of things to talk about. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful and thriving, thrilling, and non-thirsty Thursday. Go quench that thirst and do it responsibly. Okay? But anyway, I hope you guys are all having a wonderful one. You know what I mean? I want to say really quick, before we get into our stories of the day, last night's show was absolutely epic. If you were not a part of the members show, you missed out on one hell of a show. Okay? I just want to make that abundantly clear. All right? Please go join, hit that join button, be a part of the show, be a part of the conversations that we have. Man, like I said, yesterday's members only show that we had last night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time was absolutely epic. We had a really great conversation. Lots of beautiful people came on. We got to talk about all kinds of stuff. And yes, it was dope. Queen Christine, yes. Pascal has a membership. Yes, it's right underneath the feed right here. There's a big old box that says join in blue. All right? Written in blue. It's a white box in blue lettering. It says join. You crush that button right there. It's $4.99. That's less than $5 a month. It helps me keep fueling this show so that we can keep giving you guys your stories of the day. And also we do a once a week membership show, members only show. So everyone comes in, they get the video chat with me. We get to talk about all kinds of stuff, etc. So if you haven't done it yet, and you know how hard we work on this show to give you guys stories, please hit that join button. All right? Like I said, it's less than the price of a Netflix membership, for crying out loud. Okay? This little old show is just trying to keep moving. All right? And we want to keep giving you guys things that you can talk about with your friends, family, etc. Okay? And of course, we have a Discord, so please, thank you, Siri, for putting that out there. Please go join our Discord as well. There's a lot of conversations that go on over there outside of this show, etc. So please go and do that, okay? Now, anyway, I just wanted to say that because yesterday's show was really, really great. It went longer than I expected, but that's how it usually goes, right? When you're in a good conversation, where you're having a good time, when you're hanging out with people and you're chopping it up, it is really easy to lose track of time. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate everybody, all the members, okay, and all the mods. Let me just say that too. Shout out to all the mods. Without all you guys, there would just be chaos, absolute chaos in the chats. All right. So shout out to the mods, and of course to all you members out there that have joined, have become a part of the membership, who have actually joined in on the conversation yesterday, which was really, really great. And I look forward to more of those crazy conversations here in the near future. But anyway, guys, hopefully you guys are all having a thrilling an amazing Thursday. This is the last show of the week until next Tuesday, actually, because there's a big weekend coming up, and there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about with that as well. You know what I'm saying? Memorial Day weekend is coming up, y'all. Actually, a lot of people are starting it today. A lot of people are leaving town today to go kick it, be with friends, be with family, etc. I say this, please be safe out there, y'all. That's all I ask. Be safe. There's a lot of craziness going on. As you already see, we already had a shooting that happened yesterday. We're going to be talking about a lot of that information because there's a lot more information that was dropped overnight. And real talk, there's so much going on out here, and violence is even that more accessible, that easily more tangible, right? You can go anywhere and all of a sudden, bang. And I don't mean bang like bang as in a gun. I meant like bang, you could just be right in the middle of some serious ish. And that's not fun, y'all. That ain't fun, okay? And now that people are so easily agitated and they're so quick to grab a gun to solve their problems, all I say is please be safe out here, wherever you end up traveling to, because you know for a fact we're all going to be in places where there's going to be a lot of people around. Real talk. So keep your head on a swivel. All right. These are the moments when practicing social distancing could benefit you in the long run. I know that sounds weird, but if you're in these big places and they're super crowded and everything, craziness could pop off at any minute. So all I say, because I love all of you, you guys are our fam. And those of all y'all that are starting to file in to the show right now, please have a safe and fun weekend. Okay, it's a long one for a lot of us. Just don't do anything too stupid out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Drink responsibly. If you drink too much, get a DD, get a Lyft, get an Uber, call your auntie. You know what I'm saying? Call the cool auntie. You know what I'm saying? Call that one. Okay? That won't put your business on blast. You feel me? If you got a little too drunk that night. Okay? Just be safe. All right? My boy David's in the house. What's up, man? Because I know some of the ladies are going to be loving that beard. Shout out to Queen Christine. But what's up, man? What's a guam, bruh?
And not much here. It's pretty good. I'm a little tired. Glad we have the weekend coming up early here on Friday. But yeah, not too much going on out here. I was just reading about this might interest a few people in chat, but just reading about the new Nintendo Switch. They plan to come out in 2021. It's supposed to have like LED screen and support 4K. And right now they're looking in Taiwan to get screens for it. So we might see that next year. Though China's very mad that they're trying to get screens from Taiwan.
That's interesting.
But, yeah.
For those of y'all who are into gaming, I mean, I'm personally not. We've had that conversation multiple times. I've always wanted to get into it, but I just don't see myself sitting there just playing video games for 15,000 days. You know what I'm saying? 15,000 hours and 15,000 days. It's just not my thing. It just, you know what I mean? It doesn't make me want to shake my groove thing. That's just me, though. That's just me. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just me.
When was the last time you played a video game?
Ha! That's a good question. Years. I put an S behind that year. Years. And another S. It's been long. And a Z. Years. Long time. But like I said, I'm not a video game guy. I'm not a gamer. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. And that's the problem with games, right? You just don't know where to begin. You feel me? Like I would get lost. I'd be like, what's the right game? What's entertaining to play? What's something that's not going to bore me quickly? You know what I mean? What's something that's going to keep me interested in playing than just sitting around and just going, okay, this is it. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me though. That is just me. Sorry, I'm just adjusting some things. There we go. So that, that's just me. I'm not really but I think it was instilled in me really early on, because we used to have video games when I was a kid, but my parents were really against us playing video games all the time. But my parents were old school, and they also thought that, video games just were just rotting our brains. So we weren't really allowed to really play video games. So when we did get a chance to play video games, it was kind of like, it's cool, but then we'd get bored really quick, or we'd only be allowed to play for a certain amount of time. You see what I'm saying? Because we would get in a lot of trouble for my parents did not want us to be those kids that just sat there and played video games for like 17 hours. And there was a lot of kids I knew growing up that did that kind of ish. So they were just like, no, you're going to put your nose in a book. You're going to read. You're going to educate yourself. You only get a little bit of time to play video games, and that's it. And yeah. So, yeah. And I think also, like, because they were not cool with video games to begin with, it was like trying to get one video game was like trying to pull teeth. You see what I'm saying? Trying to get them to play, trying to get them to go, okay, you want the Mortal Kombat, or hey, you want the Call of Duty, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It was like pulling teeth. It was just so much work to just get a new video game that I think I just lost interest altogether. I liked riding my bike and climbing trees and stuff. You know what I mean? I was really outdoorsy when I was a kid. So I just occupied my time with that, Made bow and arrows out of sticks and stuff. You know what I mean? I was that kid,
Yeah.
There it is. You know what I mean? What? What's up?
I was going to say, pretty much I got a choice when I was younger to choose between a bike and a Super Nintendo, and I chose the Super Nintendo. So that's where I am now. I know how to ride a bike now, though, but not then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was riding bikes, and man, I was rollerblading before rollerblading became not cool. You know what I'm saying? All dudes were rollerblading. Let's be real. Bill Burr said it beautifully. He said, we were all rollerblading until somebody said it wasn't cool for straight males to rollerblade. And then everyone started chucking, every straight guy started chucking all their rollerblades into the ocean. And I was like, you know what? That's real talk. When was the last time you've seen a straight male rollerblade? Don't worry, I'll wait. Recently. Don't worry, I'll wait. Not never. It's been a long time. I ain't seen nobody. So, Mr. Super said I rollerbladed because we were too poor to afford 4 wheels. I'm done. So you had 2 wheels? That's it? Mr. Super, you had just 2? That's it? Because it requires 4 wheels. Allegedly. You know what I mean?
How many wheels does a rollerblade have? 4. 4?
Yeah, 4 on each skate. I mean, there's some people out there that will put 2 wheels, like one in the front and one in the back, and a whole bunch of like nothing in between, so that you know what I mean. But other than that, But I'll tell you, Siri, she said I've never rollerbladed in my life. It's a lot of fun. You're missing out. It is a lot of fun, but I mean, I don't rollerblade anymore. When I was a kid, I did, and then suddenly it became not cool, not straight. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not straight to rollerblade anymore. So everybody just started, like I said, just chucking their rollerblades out the window. You know what I mean? What rollerblades? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. So, anyway. Woo! Okay, so, and of course, talk amongst yourselves. I mean, if, hey, fellas, if you're still rollerblading, it's cool. You know what I mean? Embrace your inner rollerblader. That does not mean that you are, effeminate, gay, straight. It doesn't mean nothing. But there's a lot of guys out there that literally chuck that thing out the window. You know what I'm saying? Mark Jones just said, it's dangerous now, Pascal. You know, yeah, because you don't want to fall and break something and all that. You know what I mean? We all getting old out here. You know what I mean? We ain't like what we were when we were kids, where we just fall down, get back up, and everything's fine. No, we fall down 3 days later, we find a bruise, and we're like, wait a second, how did that? Ow, that hurts. How did that happen? You know? Oh yeah, I rollerbladed 3 days ago. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. We got to go into some of these news stories, y'all. Unfortunately, we got some more information surrounding the shooting that happened yesterday at the VTA rail yard in San Jose. And I got a little bit of an article here. I got a couple articles here, and I think we all need to know what's going on, because this is it's sad, y'all. And I that's why we're trying to keep our the opening light and talk about light stuff. But this is the sad news. I hate starting to show off on sad stuff. I like talking about the controversial stuff, like, oh, Charlemagne. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff is fun. It's juicy. You know what I'm saying? But then we talk about this, and it kind of, I hate this stuff. I really, really do hate this stuff. But we got to talk about this, okay, guys? Real talk. All right. So 9 victims now. A 9th victim has died. So the second person that was sent to the hospital with gun-inflicted wounds has perished. And that is news as of late last night. Okay? So just a little bit of information, and this is some crazy stuff. Now, actually, before I go into this article, if you didn't see my cutout video from our members only show, I did discuss about the shooter, the identification of the shooter, who this person was, etc. Okay, and he goes by the name of Samuel Cassidy. All right, now I'm gonna do a little bit of a recap in this video, or in this article here. But for those who don't know, or for those who do know, I'm sorry, but we have to do a little bit of a recap here and everything. All right, so 9 victims, okay, of the San Jose Transit yard shooting include father of 2, 36, a grandpa, 65. As footage shows, killer setting off to work with a bag full of guns after torching his own home. Okay, so if you guys don't know, this is the shooter. This is the gunman. His name is Samuel Cassidy. Okay. All 9 victims of Wednesday morning's mass shooting at the rail yard in California have been named as coworkers who knew the gunman well. All right. Samuel Cassidy, age 57, opened fire shortly after 7 a.m. after he calmly set off from his home carrying a duffel bag, which police believe contained the gun used in the attack. Detectives have not yet established a motive for the attack, which left 9 men aged between 29 and 63 dead at the Valley Transportation Authority rail yard in San Jose. Cassidy, a maintenance worker, he worked there, and I know I said this in the past video that I put out, but I'm saying it again here. He is a maintenance worker that works for the VTA. So he was an employee. And like they said here, all those guys, all those people that were shot and killed knew him well. Now, the father of Cassidy did talk about this in a brief interview. He said he never talked about work. He never talked about politics. This seemed like this came out of nowhere. But I got some more information about that. So hold tight, my fam. All right. So Cassidy, 57, opened fire shortly before 7 a.m. before he calmly set off. Oh, sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Detectives have not yet established a motive for his attack, which left 9 men. I said that as well. Okay. Sorry about that. So he was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The coroner named the victims as Adrian Baleza, Jose De Jesus Hernandez, Tapajip Singh, Michael. I'm about to destroy all these guys' names, and I'm not about to do that. But these are all men, like I said, varying from 29 all the way up to 63 years old. Okay? Sources said Cassidy shot virtually everyone on the morning shift, including some he had worked with for years. He has been described as a quote-unquote loner, and an ex-girlfriend has claimed he was violent and had bipolar disorder. She alleged in the court that Cassidy exhibited major mood swings, became violent when drunk, and would force himself on her sexually. Remember yesterday, right? Yesterday when I talked about the identification of Samuel Cassidy, I talked about what could have been the problem. Why did this guy fly under the radar? There had to have been some sort of warning signs, red flags, something. It just doesn't seem like it makes any sense for him to suddenly just walk into his workplace and start blasting. Okay? So, chilling footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera shows Cassidy leaving his home Wednesday morning wearing a safety jacket and pants with a fluorescent strip as he gets into his white pickup truck. Detectives said he had multiple firearms in his possession, but did not show how many. It did not show how many, nor specify the type used in shooting. He set his house on fire before leaving, and firefighters later arrived to battle the inferno. Inside the home were a number of firearms and ammunition, the police said. So, they said Cassidy would have been well acquainted with his victims. This is what the mayor said to CNN, that he would have been well acquainted with his victims, who included a married father of two young children and a loving, quote unquote, loving grandfather. It's clear the victims and all the colleagues knew the shooter very, very well. Of course, I mean, if you work with somebody for that long, right? Depending on how long you are there, of course, you're going to know some of the people, especially if you're going back into your place of work to do such a heinous act, right? Now, here are some of the faces of the people that were killed during this shooting. And I just want to briefly show you guys their faces real quick to, of course, honor these men who are no longer here. But like I said before, there had to have been some sort of heads up of what we should, of at least a bit of a foreshadowing of what could have come. He had multiple weapons, explosive devices, etc. I have more here that I need to show you guys. It's saying revealed ex-girlfriend of Light Yard Rail employee who shot 9 dead during union meeting before killing himself says he had bipolar disorder, and another claimed he R-word her and had alcohol-filled mood swings. Okay? So, as we already know about all this stuff, he set fire to his home, etc. Now, the ex, who has not been named, told NBC Bay Area that she and Cassidy dated for 6 months back in 2009 after meeting on Match.com. She said Cassidy turned on her when she rejected his marriage proposal, telling him she didn't want to rush into a wedding. She says, and I quote, "I was scared. I turned him down, and he turned totally different," she stated. "He was angry, screaming. He stole my car." The ex also added that Cassidy said his job at VTA was stressful and that he complained about his boss. Now, remember, the dad was on a phone call interview, I guess, with a news a media outlet, and he said he kept to himself. He was very quiet. He wasn't political. He didn't talk about his job or about politics. He was very to himself. So all this information right now is new to me. Maybe he was lying. Maybe he was just trying to keep, leave some honor on his son's name. I don't know. But let's continue. So he complained about his boss. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Chronicle reports that another ex-girlfriend of Cassidy's filed court documents against him back in 2009. They came in response to a restraining order Cassidy had filed against her earlier. In the documents, the woman accuses him of repeatedly trying to pressure her into having, oh my dear God, anal sex, and of R-wording her once in 2009. The woman further alleges Cassidy had major mood swings as a result of bipolar disorder, which worsens when he drank large amounts of alcohol. He also played several mind games, which he seems to enjoy, she stated in the documents. Now, Cassidy's father, we're going in here too, James Cassidy, 88, answered a phone call with the Daily Mail, which is the article that we're reading right here, Wednesday, and he said, "I'm sorry. I don't know what he might have been going through." Now, this is his own papa, and he's sitting here going, "I don't even know." Huh? He told the Daily Beast his son seemed completely himself before the shooting, adding, "He didn't talk about his job or politics. I just found out he was dead and his house was on fire and all that a minute ago." Sounds like the dad. I mean, to me, now when I read that and I hear about the possibility of bipolar disorder, etc., to me, it sounds like maybe the papa has a problem too, because it seems like he's going, "Oh yeah, he didn't say anything. He didn't talk about politics or his job. He just stayed to himself. And oh, I just found out right now." Doesn't make any sense, right? Now, I see Queen Christine just said he's I think you mean introvert. Now, he could very well be an introvert. The dad could be an introvert for sure. But it's your own son. And I feel like you would know if your son is bipolar or not. You can't just go through life and not know that part. And I feel like that would be an information that would be coming from the father and not an ex-girlfriend that is filed like a restraining order on Cassidy for rape and having violent mood swings when he drinks heavily, saying that he's bipolar. I feel like that's something that the family would, like his dad would know. I feel like that's information that Papa would tell the cops, reporters, etc. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, I guess I would. I would say that. That's just me, though. It'd be like, hey, yeah, he deals with he was dealing with serious mood swings due to bipolar disorder, and I mean, obviously he won't know anything about him sexually or what his romantic life is like, but I mean that part is serious. Now, Spock, can you save me? Just said bipolar is hidden by being an introvert. I mean, it can be, I guess, but if you're having issues and I don't know. To me, it's like, this is your pop. This is your dad. This is the man who brought you into the world and has also raised you. I feel like that's a piece of information that I feel like he would already know.
It's
Just saying.
I mean, I agree. It's definitely possible. The one thing here that I'm not sure of is we have people calling him bipolar, but we're not clear if he's actually had that diagnosis or if that's just what his girlfriend is saying. So
That is
while
true,
he is,
too.
yeah. So while they are claiming he's bipolar, we don't necessarily know that's true. Only one person has claimed this, I think, and or two people, I guess, and neither of them are doctors. I mean, they might be right, but we should not assume that they are unless we hear it from a doctor, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
In either event, it does seem like this was very personal to him. I mean, eventually the chief of police did confirm pretty much 100% that it was suicide. And it seems like he was focusing on the maintenance tracks where he actually worked at. So he was pretty much the section of the tracks he was on was solely for maintenance and for storage of trains, and that's where he worked. So it seems like he was focusing on the people he worked most closely with, because he never attacked the operations center, which is supposedly the most populous built, or like the most workers are in that building, and it's also the one that controls the entire railway. So it's assumed, well, I'm assuming, that because he shot the people he works with instead of like the leadership of the railway, he was targeting the people that were his coworkers, and possibly some of them considered him a friend before that. So, I mean, I think we can definitely trust that he's had this history of violence because they filed court documents and they've said that. But I don't necessarily trust them when they say he's bipolar unless we see that coming from an actual psychiatrist, because a lot of people try to diagnose people and they do it incorrectly. And on top of this, I mean, this is really sad, but I've been saying this all year, that we just keep getting more and more mass shootings, and it is increasing. And I want to point out, for instance, we've already had 10 mass shootings this year that were over 4 casualties, not necessarily 4 dead, but at least 4 people injured. We've already passed 270 shootings this year. And we have, in general, about twice as many shootings as we did last year, and that's including the entire last year. So we're already twice as many shootings this year as we had all of the entire of last year. And so, I mean, obviously, mental health is kind of one of the things people go to on this, because generally, I suppose the idea is if you're trying to kill people, you're mentally divergent by default. But this does seem like a deeply personal thing. He even burned down his own house beforehand. And like I said, it seems like he was targeting the people he knew, not the people that necessarily controlled his work in daily life at that place. Seems a little more personal than like an actual, like, say, terrorist attack. I mean, I'm not saying that since he worked there, it was almost certainly an emotional or psychological problem of some sort. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that's unfortunate, that this keeps happening, and it's happening, like I said, much more frequently this year, already twice as many this year as last year.
I mean, like we've, I've said in the video before, it's like, there has been 16 shootings since Friday. So since this shooting that happened yesterday, there have been 16 shootings since Friday, that last Friday. And that's a lot. That's insane. Now, I know that's not all mass shootings, of course, but at the same time, gun-related shootings that have happened, 16 since Friday. That's a lot of shootings. That's a lot of gun violence for no reason. Now, here's the thing. Okay, let's be real here. There is footage, which I should show that too. I was going to show that. There is footage of him getting in his car, literally getting in his car. Sorry, hold on. Yes. So literally getting in his car, getting ready to blow this thing up, like go and shoot up a whole bunch of people. His house is right at that moment about to start burning up. Right? He had already set his house on fire and all that stuff. And, I mean, clearly this man knew he was not coming back home. If you're going to burn your house down, if you're going to do all this crazy stuff, you know for a fact he's not planning on coming back home. He's ready to go there and never come back. Now, I want to show you guys this video real quick. of him actually going into his car with bags. Bags. Take a look. Bags of weapons, and it looks like he had a gallon of water or something like that with him. But real talk, this is moments before he goes over to his workplace and starts shooting up the place. Clearly, this man knew he wasn't going to go back home. So here it is. If you're going to blow up, if you're going to burn down your house, you clearly know that you ain't going to be coming back no more. Now, let me just say this. That is a mental issue. He may not have been diagnosed bipolar. He could have been diagnosed from friends or these girlfriends who are just sitting there. He clearly is insane. How could he be this way? Just, normally. Obviously, maybe something's not right mentally with him, right? So there's a possibility that he was never diagnosed. But clearly his mind isn't right if you're already burning down your house, putting a whole bunch of guns in a bag, putting it in your pickup truck, driving off, going to the place of work, and shooting up a whole bunch of people that you personally know. Clearly, that is a sign of mental health, of a mental health issue. Clearly. Now, I mean, obviously, you could sit there and say the same thing on anything then, really. Like, let's, if we want to go all the way down, if we want to do a deep dive into this, into a deeper conversation about this, this is, when somebody kills somebody, when somebody does something, some sort of grisly act, those are all moments of having a mental break. But if he was already known to be violently assaulting girlfriends, being violent when he's drunk, etc., maybe he wasn't diagnosed officially, but there's something not right here. You got to be in a certain place mentally to go into a place and shoot up a whole bunch of people. It can't just be, walking down the street, go and get a gallon of milk and some bread, and then all of a sudden, that doesn't make any sense. You're taking people's lives. So clearly something's not right. I mean, what do you think, David?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, ultimately anyone that engages in some sort of shooting at this is ultimately going to be considered mentally divergent because, like I said, it's not common behavior to go and murder a bunch of people. It's kind of one of those things by default, I would say. What some of the misleading comes from that people are suggesting that because you have some sort of mental disorder like bipolar or whatever, that you're likely to create the crime. But that's not necessarily the case. It's more that people who commit crimes are by default considered mentally unhealthy. And
but here's the thing though. But okay, and I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but let's discuss this. Let us discuss this because I'm trying to understand it a little bit myself then. Because here it is. If any person, okay, grabs a gun, goes off into a public place and just starts shooting people, let's just say, starts shooting people that they know, okay? Yes, instantly I'm thinking there's something wrong mentally. Me, if I went down the street, just took a gun, had a whole bunch of guns, explosive devices, etc., and said, and walked down the street and just started shooting people, clearly something's not right. You have to look at it as a mental health issue. I don't think it's the excuse because it's still somebody doing something terrible, but it could be one of the roots of a problem for sure. Looking at people who are going, like what's his name? John Wayne Gacy, for example, buried a whole bunch of men in the basement of his home, right? He goes in, he gets caught. Yes, he's freaking out of his mind, but he's out of his mind. See? Mental health issue. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like for one to sit there and go, oh yeah, I'm just going to walk down the street and just start shooting people just because, I feel like there's something not right. For one to just go and take a person's life or multiple people's lives, the root has got to be mental health instantly. Just like any person, like I said, accidents happen. I get the accident parts of things, but if you're running around and just going blah, 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 it's just weird to me. Now, Lady Justice just said something. I wanted to read it really quick. Where is it? Except black people and Latino community, we are just considered bad apples when one of us does something wrong. And that's absolute. I agree. If we go, I remember a long time ago, there was two snipers, right? It was like a father-son sniping situation. It was a black father and son that were shooting people on the top of buildings, just popping people off randomly, right? There's got to be something not right. Not just, oh, these guys are just doing bad things. No, that's an issue mentally. I'm not sitting here saying that they shouldn't see the full extent of the law or see the inside of a cell because of their mental issue. The DC sniper, Kenrick, thank you so much. I'm not sitting here saying that they should not get buried under that damn prison, but at the same time, though, there's still something not right there that needs to be addressed. But I do feel that any acts of violence that go to that length, there's something going on mentally that hasn't been addressed or that needs to be addressed.
There's the interesting fact that so while certain mental illnesses such as psychopathy and sociopathy, and sometimes I don't remember the other one, but either way, with those two, like, it's generally one of these things that does permanently change the way they interact with everything. However, not all sociopaths are actually criminals or anything. It's actually estimated that around 90% of CEOs are sociopaths.
Facts.
And that's why they're so successful, because they don't necessarily care about the ramifications of their actions on other people. I mean, that's definitely wrong. It's not criminal activity, though. And, there are a lot of sociopaths and actual psychopaths who get treatment or just manage their things through their own sort of discipline. Because just because you don't feel emotion does not necessitate that you are going to kill people. So there's always an additional factor beyond the mental health. Though I agree that by default, anyone who engages in this activity is mentally unhealthy. The thing is, when I think we see people using that as an excuse nowadays, a lot of cases, not necessarily in this one, but in other instances for sure. And I don't really know. I guess, so we see sociopaths and psychopaths who do have this predisposition to kind of do more of what they want, yet the majority of them are still not criminals. The majority of them are normal people. They just don't have normal feelings, but they still act normally because they decide to do so intellectually. So I do agree that mental health is a factor in this, but there's almost always some sort of exacerbating situation that has to add to it, because just by being bipolar, I mean, my friend's mother is bipolar, and she's done a lot of rough things to him in the past, but she's never been like a criminal or done anything that's considered criminal activity or and she never like physically abused him or anything. So it does not necessarily, like, bipolarism doesn't mean that you're going to be suddenly violent. Usually when his mother was in the negative bipolar position, she would just leave so she would stay away from her family and things. So even though people can have these mentally divergent attitudes and end up being a shooter, it's not necessarily guaranteed, because the majority of them do not engage in this activity. So there has to be something else in addition to the mental health that is causing people to express their mental health problems through violence instead of other means that many successful sociopaths and psychopaths have done through their lives. And I know that, like, just calling someone a psychopath suggests that, because we, especially in serial killer movies, we almost always go with the psychopath explanation. That's usually not necessarily the case in real life. So we do have this view of psychopaths as inherently destructive. They can, however, manage their own feelings, and they can be managed by psychiatrists. So I do think there's something else in addition to going on to this. I'm sure the lockdowns caused a lot of these issues because isolation doesn't decrease mental health, and a lot of people have been isolated for a large portion of last year. And especially things like schizophrenia and psychopathy, sociopathy, these things are going to be exacerbated over that long period of isolation because you don't have the mentally non-divergent individuals to kind of give you this idea of what is acceptable behavior. Because being a sociopath or psychopath doesn't mean you want to be outside of society necessarily. That's just how you're born. That's just a state of being. And most people do not engage in criminal activity. So there is almost always a additional thing here. And I do think alcohol is one of those things. It's a strong depressant, and if you stay drunk all the time, like any drug, if you stay high all the time, you're not going to be thinking right anymore because you don't have that basis anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's going to make these situations worse.
Yeah, your mental capacity is going to be completely different. Your things alter. You know what I mean? Your brain chemistry changes, etc. I mean, look at perfect example. Charlie Sheen. Perfect example of someone who did copious amounts of cocaine for a long period of time. And then that one fateful winning interview, you clearly can see that the man is not fully mentally stable because of the amount of cocaine or the amount of drugs that he's consumed or put into his body. It's clear. It's clear that if you do enough drugs and you do it on a consistent basis, that it will change the way you think and the way you do things, you know? That's why you see all kinds of crazy stories and mug shots out there of meth heads doing the craziest things, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? And that's very, very sad. But there it is, y'all. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say all acts of violence is instantly the root or the common denominator is mental health. But I do think that there are a lot of things that do happen, like these mass shootings, that have to do with mental health. And I feel like there are ways. I'm not sitting here saying that this situation could have been prevented. We don't know. We don't know. You know what I mean? But Orlando Brown, hey, King Timma, exactly. Perfect example of somebody who just snapped because of the amount of drugs and God knows what kind of stuff he put in his body as well. But yes, when it comes to those things, not like we could sit here and know how, like that there was going to be tell signs of him doing something like this. But at the same time, I wish there were some heads up, if that was even possible. Beautiful Walking just said something. So, question. What can authorities do if someone suspects a neighbor may be going off the deep end? The cops aren't set up to deal with it. Who do you go to in this type of situation? That's a very good question. Well, thing is that unfortunately, legally, there's nothing you really can do because here it is. If they're not committing a crime and you are not their legal guardian or they're not going in voluntarily, then there's not really much you can do. unless they are, like I said, committing a crime or doing something. That's the only time that you really can do anything to prevent that person from either harming themselves even more or stopping them from doing something else. But you can't, this ain't Minority Report, okay? Where you got those oracles, those psychics that are floating in the water that just predict the future, and all these people get arrested because they're allegedly going to do some grisly, heinous act of murder or theft or something like that in the near future. You can't predict what that person's going to do in the near future. All you can do is just stand by and wait for when they do something, or when you do see them doing something that is illegal. That's the only time you really can do anything. Like I said, if you had power of attorney, or if you were their legal guardian, or if you were their friend and you were able to speak to them and talk to them, the only thing you really can do is really go to that neighbor and have a conversation with them. Hopefully you guys have a good rapport. You see what I'm saying? But there's only so much you can do within the confines of legal. You know what I mean? Within the confines of the law. And that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? But we got to jump on to the next story, unfortunately, guys. I mean, of course, we could talk about this till we're blue in the face. And, as much as, Beautiful Walking has that's a very good question, and it brings up a very good point. Sometimes you do see hints or, a foreshadowing of what could come in the future. The question is, what can we do? What can we legally do as a bystander or as a neighbor that can not only protect them, but also protect the people around you as well? And all we can do is just, like I said, stand by and keep an eye, keep a good watch on that neighbor. Unless you're a good friend of them, you know what I mean? Unless you're friends, that could change things a lot too. But anyway, we got to get into this next story. Oh boy, here we go. This one is just stupid. All right. This one straight up is just absolutely dumb. And it all has to do with Central Park Karen. Let me grab this. I thought I had it up, but it's not up anymore. All right. So the OG, the original, okay? The original Central Park Karen is back in the news again. You want to know why? Well, let me show you guys this article. This is just stupid. Central Park Karen, if you don't remember this woman, you remember this woman, please tell me you remember this woman. She has been famous. She is basically one of the original Karens, really. She kind of helped kick off this whole thing with Karens in general, with that phrase. Now, she was the one in Central Park. There was another gentleman there bird watching. Yes, people do bird watch. He was out there. He was complaining about how her dog was way too close to him. He asked her politely to back the dog off, etc. They have this argument because the dog's not on a leash. She pulls out her phone. She says, "I'm going to call the cops." He's like, "Okay, go ahead, do whatever you need to do." And he's filming this entire encounter to the point where she's on the phone and she's fake screaming like this man, as she said, black man is attacking her in Central Park. Please come get her. Please come save her. Is all caught on tape. He is far away from her. Far away from her. Okay? He has nothing to do. He had not put one hand on her at all. He didn't even harm her little dog too. Okay? So, recently she's in the news right now because she is, as it says, she's suing her old bosses because they said they labeled her as a racist. Yes. What the hell is this? Amy Cooper is her real name. The original Central Park Karen. Okay? The original. Now, Amy Cooper, who has been branded the original, because there is a second Central Park Karen now. Central Park Karen, after calling the cops on a black man, is taking her former employee to court, saying they painted her with a broad, racist brush. Okay, Cooper is suing investment firm Franklin Templeton, where she worked before this whole mess, alleging defamation, negligence, infliction of emotional distress, and racial discrimination. Seriously. This is serious, y'all. Oh, people are so stupid. In the docs obtained by TMZ, which is the article I'm reading right here, Cooper claims FT fired her prematurely and without having all the facts. Excuse me, what facts do you need? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't mean to blow it up and be here in the big picture and everything, but what facts do you need? What other facts do you need? The video says it all. The video shows it all. The video shows your ass fully. What does FT, Franklin Templeton, need more? What information are we losing here? What did we miss? I'm confused. What did we miss? Did we miss something? I'm so confused. What did we miss? That video shows everything. Okay? So she goes on to say the honchos, TMZ, I'm so done, jumped on the bandwagon that was spreading across the country to portray her as another privileged white female Karen. Bruh. She says they painted her as a racist when they announced that they were cutting her loose in the days that followed. Of course they would fire that ass. I would. Saying they did not tolerate racism of any kind, which Cooper believes wrongly labeled her and helped ruin her life and future prospects. This is a little bit of the document that was sent to her. Dear Miss Cooper, this letter is to notify you that professional conduct has opened an investigation into the incident in Central Park that resulted in the termination of your employment at Franklin Templeton to determine whether there are any violations of the CFA Institute Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. Pursuant to that investigation, we request that you provide the following documents and information within 10 days of the date of this letter. And of course, the rest goes on. Now, not just that, but Cooper says Franklin Templeton's claim of doing a full investigation, which only lasted a couple days or so before they canned her, wasn't up to snuff. And she claims they filed to review the entirety of her 911 calls for context. Adding insult to injury, Cooper claims FT didn't bother pulling notes from the New York City Park Board meetings, which she claims would have shed light on unproven allegations Christian Cooper, the guy with whom she had beef, had been noted as a pest in the park. Okay, here it is, y'all. You see in the video, and I'm sure if you're listening to the 911 calls, you're seeing the 911 call on the video. What else do they need? This woman is a full-on idiot. This woman's an idiot. So, Miss Cooper claims what was really going on that day is that Christian targeted her in a supposed ongoing feud between himself, an avid bird watcher, and dog owners in Central Park. She says she didn't call 911 out of racism, but out of genuine fear. She was initially charged for filing a false report, but that was ultimately dropped. Okay, y'all. All right. Okay, this is stupid. This woman's stupid. Now, the fact that she is going out of her way to sit here and say that she's going, no. Oh, no. Oh, we got he has a feud with dog walkers and you know, he has a full-on feud going on between himself and dog walkers because he's an avid bird watcher, and dog owners in Central Park are just running into Christian Cooper over this thing all the time. So he is causing people to go out of their way to call the cops and say, help me, there's a black man hurting me, help, where he's he's yards away from this chick. Real talk, yards away from this chick. And yet she is still grasping at straws right now by trying to sue her former employer because she says, well, you guys didn't get the full scope of the story. You don't know what's going on. You could just look at the video itself in all of its ugly ass glory, and it shows everything that you need to see. It explains everything. This woman has no case. She's clearly trying to scoop a bag. She's trying to catch a bag, y'all. She ain't got no case right now. This is full on trash. Now she's sitting here going, you don't know the full scope. You don't know the entirety of her 911 calls. You need to listen to all the 911 calls for context. What? This dude is sitting there filming the entire thing, showing your ass. And everybody and their mama has seen this video. You don't think that the Franklin Thompson didn't do their due diligence, look into the information, look into the incident to see what was really going on and make a concise and balanced decision? You think just because you became Central Park Karen, they just fired you? No. They saw the video. They saw the footage. They listened, as they said. They looked at the 911 calls. They listened at those. But that 911 call is also in the damn video where you are straight up lying, saying that this Christian Cooper guy was attacking you, saying, oh, this black man is attacking me, where he's yards away from your ass. You ain't got no case. Quit trying. Grasping at straws, looking ass. Let me stop right there. David, what are your thoughts on this? Have mercy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is one of the situations where I think both sides are wrong. Because, yeah, obviously she was wrong because she called the police for a false charge and tried to get him in trouble, while at the same time pretty much strangling her own dog. However, Cooper did give an interview in which he admitted that he does on a regular basis perform this action. He says that it has proven the most effective way to get a recalcitrant dog owner to put their dog on a leash. And he goes on to say that like basically with her, he says his idea was that if you're going to do what you want, I will do what I want. And that's when he pulled out the dog treats. So it does seem like this is a thing, according to him, that was an action that he frequently did to people. So, yeah, if he didn't say it himself, I probably wouldn't have thought it was true. But he said it himself that is one of the things that he was doing constantly.
Yes.
And
no,
so
now I understand that piece. Like I understand that piece right there, where he does have dog treats in his pocket and all that stuff. And I know that he does have there is a story out there that he has a history of being, hold on.
Yeah, he says
that he has a history of doing those things, right? But that does not mean that he deserves to be instantly thrown under the bus when she did something herself. Now, here it is also, too. They had only just met that one day. So it's not like she knew his history before the incident happened. You see what I'm saying? It's not like she knew this about him beforehand. Period. So this is her going out of her way to say some ish and trying to get the cops over there as quickly as possible because she's some white girl in distress. Because as soon as she said, a black man is attacking me, please help me, she's instantly showing her ass. Doesn't matter what history he had. This was only one 911 call. This was not like she had encounters with him over and over and over again every single time he was there. You see what I'm saying? This wasn't like a reoccurring issue. It just doesn't make sense. Now, that is true. Cooper did say, I'm reading what you just said. This is what Cooper said. Literally, this is what Cooper said in an interview. He has said it multiple times. I've done those deep dive conversations about him. Facts. But at the same time, she didn't know this stuff. She used her whiteness. She used her white privilege, being a white woman in distress, to scream into the phone a lie. A full-on lie. He was nowhere near her. He did not attack her. He was asking her to step away from him. And the fact that this woman is trying to bring this stuff up again is sick. It's sick. You don't, like, this woman didn't learn nothing. Because it seemed as if she goes, I'm sorry for what happened, etc. Nope, not anymore. Now she's sitting here going, no, I'm suing my job because they labeled me as such. When you are that. You fully were Karen. You went full Karen in this situation. You have got to be kidding me that you are trying to sue your employer because you think that you actually have a case on this situation. Hell to the no, bruh. I'm sorry, David. Please.
Yeah, I agree with you that she's incredibly wrong too. I don't think that any part of what she did was right. I mean, she obviously lied on the phone call, and that charge should not have been dropped.
It should not have been. But
she's obviously abusing her dog, which thankfully she ended up giving up, so she no longer even has that dog because she couldn't handle it.
I think they got back. I think she got the dog back.
Oh, did she?
I think she got the dog back. Let me continue. I'm gonna Google it real quick.
But yeah, so. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that she was just trying to get him to get in trouble just because of his race, more or less. Because ultimately, he would not have been charged with anything for maybe mild harassment for giving people's dog treats. Because he did say that he does it to make them afraid, and that's why they put him on a leash. But ultimately, I mean, just like his actions aren't justified by hers, her actions aren't justified by his. She decided to, she handled the whole situation wrong. I could definitely see why she'd be fired. She was calling in a false report and abusing her own dog. There's really no there's like no area here to say that she was totally okay with what she did. So yeah, I agree that she definitely was going for a racial bent here. And even Cooper himself says that, let me find his exact quote.
Yeah.
He says that, I can't tell you or not whether she's always a racist, but I can tell you that what she did in that moment of confrontation was a spectacularly poor judgment. And in that moment, what she did was definitely racist. Now, could she be defined by that? A couple of seconds, and he's like, I can't answer that. I think that's up to her and what she does going forward.
Facts.
And I guess what we're seeing as she goes forward is that she's fighting this with her employers, at least. As far as I know, she hasn't engaged with Cooper again after this incident.
No, and from my understanding, like, I think that there was an attempt to try to get in contact with each other, and he was like, I'm not interested. He's like, I don't want to go back and relive this crap again. He's like, I've forgiven her in my own way, and that's it. And he was like, I'm done. I'm going to move on. And the thing is that, yes, if she wants to, whatever she does from this moment on or from that moment on defines on who she is. And the fact that she is literally trying to sue her own place of work, her old employee, proves to me that she ain't changed and she ain't learned nothing. And then also on top of that, she's still trying to throw Christian Cooper under the bus, saying, oh, he has a history of, of having altercations with other dog owners and such. But have you seen any phone calls to the 911 phone calls saying otherwise? I think not. So when it comes to this story, like, man, this woman is trash. This woman is absolute trash. Like, she could have taken the high road and just let it be what it is. Take this as a teachable moment and keep it moving. But no, she still wants to see if she can come out on top, victorious. This is not going to be a victorious win for you. You're going to fall on your face and you're going to look like a dumbass because you did something that was caught on tape, that was caught on video, that everybody and their mama has seen. Straight up.
And I will point out, I don't think we've mentioned this yet. However, the state law is that the dog has to be on a leash. So she was, in fact, I think it's just a $200 fine, $300 fine. So she's not going to go to jail for that. But she was breaking the law and just having her dog run around free, because that is from what I looked up, that is a biking trail and a walking trail. That's not unusual because like a lot of places here have walking trails that dogs are allowed on. But they're supposed to be on leashes because dogs have a tendency to chase after people on bikes, even if they're not leashed up. So that she was violating that rule for sure. And that is one of those things that's put in place for, they're in a park, not in a real wilderness, but that is one of those things that's put into place to make sure that everyone that's using the trail is safe. And she was violating that basically by letting her dog free, which not only endangers anyone on a bike or anyone in general. It could. I don't know that the dog would actually attack anyone. That's not really the point. The point is that it could have happened. And so that's another thing that she considerably violated, which is a dangerous thing. I do a lot of mountain biking, and so dogs here are usually used to it and people manage them, but I've seen dogs chasing someone that's trying to go down a hill at like 40 miles an hour and almost cause a crash. This is why you always follow those kind of rules of right of way in the trail and of how to respect the trail so that other people can use it as well, because everyone has the right to use that trail safely. And even if her dog is this beautiful little innocent creature, they don't know that, and there are dogs out there that will attack people for running by them just because of instinct.
Absolutely, man. Sorry. Absolutely, man. And it's just, like I said, this whole, sorry, I'm reading people's comments and it's funny. Yeah, we made it, David. We made it. But yeah, yeah. And I just think that this is something, like I said, that just needs to be, she should have just put this thing to rest. Let it be what it is. You know what I mean? Take the L. Go into your cave, lick your wounds, and come out a better person. And that's it. You know what I mean? So it's frustrating. But do me a favor, everybody, because I see everybody watching right now. Could we get these likes all the way up? Please send these likes all the way up. Please, please, please. Hit that like button. Let's piss off this troll as much as we can with as many likes as we can get. Let's get these likes past 80 likes. Okay, I see 126 of y'all watching this show right now. I really appreciate all y'all, fam. I appreciate it. If you haven't done it yet, hit that like button. Send those likes. Send it all the way up. All the positive energy as you can. Let's get this show up, all the way up. Okay. Also, definitely, if you haven't done it as well, crush that subscribe button. That would really, really mean a lot, okay? We talk about all kinds of stuff on this show, so crush that subscribe button. Please, please do that for me, okay? So yes, send those likes all the way up. Let's get it past 80. Let's get it past 80. Let's get it past 80. Come on, positive vibes. Let's start off the Memorial Day weekend off on a very amazing point, okay? So send those likes all the way up, baby. Let's get it to 80. Get past 80. Come on. Come on, babies. Let's get it past 80. That would really mean a lot, okay? Anyway, moving on into the next story. We got to go into this next thing, man, because, there's some, we're going to do something a little lighter, okay? That was kind of heated. That was a heated piece, okay? This is very pop cultural-ish, okay? But we need to talk about this. honestly, we need to talk about this. It is something that is going on right now. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of people that are really hype. Yeah, we are going here. We're going here. We're going to talk about this. Okay? We are most definitely talking about this trash. No offense to anybody. I know there's a lot of people that are fans of this show. I was not, but it was definitely part of pop culture. And it was a big thing, a big show. People really, really enjoyed it. So we got to talk about it. Okay? It's because it's trending hard right now, this conversation. So we need to talk about it. Friends had a reunion. The TV show Friends got together and they did a whole little thizzy thing on HBO Max where they did a full-on Friends reunion show. Okay? And there was a piece that there are a bunch of pieces in this video that people are very, very hype about. But we got to talk about this one. Okay? We got to talk about the reunion in general. People have been talking about it quite a bit. But one of the things is a lot of people are kind of talking about one of the many clips that people are talking about is this one right here.
You're all young, hot, good-looking, successful actors, and it's inconceivable to me that there weren't perhaps off-screen romances.
Well, I mean, David?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the
first season.
Yeah, the first season, I had a major crush on Jen. I think we both, at some point, we were both crushing hard on each other, but it was like two ships passing because one of us was always in a relationship. So, and we never crossed that boundary. You know, we respected that, but we both...
Bullshit.
Yeah, I call BS on all that too. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people really love this show, okay? A lot of people really love this show. Now, I personally was not a fan of the show at all, but I knew a lot about it because everybody and their mama was talking about it. You know, everybody and their mama was talking about it. It was that thing. It was part of the zeitgeist. Everybody and their mama knew about this show. White, black, Puerto Rican, or Asian, you knew about this show, okay? Now, there are some things that I feel like I have not seen the reunion, but as you see in this conversation, in this reunion, you can see right there, this is not a reunion of, hey, we're going to revamp the show and we're going to do, and they might do that, I don't know, but because there's a lot of people that would love that. But one thing that I do appreciate is that they were sitting down and just talking about, from the clips I've seen, they're sitting down and just talking about life. You know, talking about the life on set, the behind-the-scenes drama, the behind-the-scenes romances, the potential romances, etc. And my thing is that, and don't get me wrong, you know, like James Corden was the host and he did his job. You know, I think James Corden is a very talented dude. You know what I'm saying? He's got a great show. I've heard he's an asshole, but that's another conversation in itself. Now, I didn't watch Friends. I watched Living Single. I watched Family Matters. I watched, what's the other show? Family Matters, In Living Color. What was the other show? Oh, I'm forgetting it.
I love Family Matters. I don't know what the other one is you're talking about there.
So.
Did you say, I don't know. There's Fresh Prince in the late 80s, 90s. I think. Is that what you mean, or something else? Newer?
Well, Fresh Prince, Martin. Somebody just said Martin. Absolutely. I watched a lot of those shows. I did not watch Friends because I did not identify with that show. And also, I just couldn't believe that all those friends with the jobs that they had lived in those kind of flats. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
I was just like, come on.
That's one of the...
Yeah, go ahead.
That's one of the things that, like, when I was young, I was poor. I'm fine now, but like when I was young, I lived in like a downtown areas, and watching these shows, I always thought they were just completely made up because I did not believe that people lived in houses like this and that
Facts.
like they could have these nice areas and all of that. So it always seemed fake to me. I didn't find out until later when I moved out of my area that people actually do live like that. But it just seemed so strange when I was younger. Um, just because it wasn't like any of the white people I knew, and that's why I thought they were weird. But I was never a big fan of Friends either. Like I said, it didn't connect with me. I didn't really like the actors either, I guess. Like, I just not a big sitcom fan, but I mean, some of the actors, I guess, were good. I only watched like 3 episodes, to be fair, so you shouldn't take my criticisms of the show too seriously. But yeah, I just wasn't into it. I mean, in general, I'm not into sitcoms. I kind of stopped watching those after like maybe mid 90s. Like Fresh Prince and Saved by the Bell were probably some of the last ones I watched, unless you count like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is more of an action show.
Yeah, Buffy. Saved by the Bell was also a show that I watched for a little bit until I woke up and said, "Wow, this show's trash." But the thing is, though, for me, I just did not identify with that show, so I didn't watch it. A Different World was really great. Cosby Show was fantastic. Now, out of context now, you're like, damn. But at the same time, real quick, sad thing about Lark Voorhees, from Saved by the Bell. She played Lisa Turtle. Sad because she is now dealing with a lot of mental issues now to this day. But I digress. The thing is, oh my God, it's funny. Real quick, Nat A just said 21 Jump Street. Now, the funny thing is a while back, because it was a show in the early 80s. I didn't see it. So I watched it on Prime, Amazon Prime. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, wow, they were really bad. I'm like, Johnny Depp is on this show, and he's not that good. The show is not that good, but people loved that show back in the day. Now, I digress. When it comes to Friends, because this is a conversation I want to have, and I might open up the phone lines in this conversation. Wonder Years was a fantastic show. I'll give you that, okay? Now, but unfortunately, that was another show that I did not identify with. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I couldn't watch a bunch of shows that did not identify me, but at the same time, when you see a show as popular as Friends, my issue is there were no people of color on that show. They had one or two, that showed up later on the show, but that was about it. There were no main characters that were of color, of different races. It was a bunch of white friends living a great life in New York City. And it's fine about the whole living a great life, but I was sitting there going like, why couldn't it have been a diverse group of friends? Why is it a whole bunch of white guys? Now, Yes Metro customer in the very last season, that's when they started bringing in Aisha Tyler and other things like that, right? And I'm sitting there going like, this does not, we were on a break. Like it didn't communicate with me. So with this reunion show, now I haven't seen it, but I would have loved to have seen them see James Corden go, why weren't there any people of color on this show? Why wasn't there any diversity? That's it. One simple question. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you said it takes place in New York, which should obviously
melting
have
pot
much
of America.
More very demographic. Exactly.
The melting pot of the freaking country, where there's all kinds of people on the thing.
Yeah.
Even the coffee shop guy who is obsessed with I don't know who he was obsessed with, but you know what I mean? Even the guy who ran the coffee shop could have been someone of a different race. Every person on the show, except for a few people that had like one word or a line here and there, you know what I mean? That was a day player and they moved on. We're all white. So in my head, I'm like, man, and it was a popular ass show. Everybody loved that show, man. They love that ish. So I'm like, yo, why couldn't? That's a conversation I feel like they should have said. Now, that might be super wokey And that might get people all angry, like, why? Why do you have to bring up that? It's nostalgia. It was a different time. It wasn't a different time. It wasn't at all. There was all kinds of, Saved by the Bell had diversity on that show. And that was the same time that show was on the air. You know what I'm saying? So different time, my ass.
Actually, this is a weird question, but okay, I was watching a Jubilee video. I just want to give background before I ask it. And basically the video was 5 black people trying to identify the one hidden white person. And it was actually these conversations we're having right now that kind of ratted him out, because he did not watch any sitcoms after that period, pretty much like I just said I did. And then every single person immediately decided he was white, because they kept saying all black people watch sitcoms forever. And this is 5 black people and 1 white person, so it's not necessarily demographics. But I was wondering what your thoughts on that were. Like, are sitcoms really that much more popular for black people or something? That's the only time I've heard it. I haven't seen any demographics, so I was just kind of wondering of your impression on that.
I'm going to say this. Well, first off, real quick, somebody said something. Pioneer said something. Pascal, you're one of the few black men who could talk about race and keep his white audience. I'm telling you, that's a talent, LOL. Thank you, the Pioneer. I appreciate that. Salute to you. Real talk. And of course, this is an open conversation. I mean, I'm not here trying to piss anybody off. You know what I mean? But it is a real thing. No, when it comes to sitcoms, then I can sit there and say the same thing about white people, David. White people kept Friends up on a pedestal for a decade, I think. I don't even know how many seasons it was, but that was a lot of seasons, bro. And it was like, from my understanding, it was like Ross and what's her face, the 2 people that were the main lovers of the show. You know what I mean? On again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again, throughout their entire show, throughout their entire catalog of the show. White people held that show up like a mug and kept it there. So I don't know. I couldn't sit here and say, oh yeah, black people hold. No, I think there's certain shows that black people held on to because that's all we had. And we embraced those things because we didn't really have a lot. Only until the 90s, really, where you had Living Single, Girlfriends, Martin, Jamie Foxx show, In Living Color. I'm forgetting some other shows, but there were tons of shows in the 90s where it was just an explosion on the TV where you're showing diversity. You're showing black families. Oh, Moesha. There's other ones. The Parenthood that didn't last very long, but still, there was a bunch of shows out there, man. So there were plenty of shows, but I'm not going to sit here and say all of them stayed. You had Cosby Show, A Different World. Thank you to Sinfinity. Thank you so much for that. You know what I mean? There was the UPN, absolutely, Metro customer. So that's why some of these shows stayed, because we needed to have something and we didn't have much. And then when we finally got something, we're like, and if it was good, we held to that thing. We held to that mother lover for dear life because that's all we had, man. And we're talking about just sitcoms, not like The Wire or New York Undercover, which were also dope-ass shows. We're not talking about those. We're talking about just sitcoms. Sitcoms that make you laugh. Oh, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm sorry. Sister, Sister. Perfect. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Great shows. And yeah, but there was a huge surge that happened in the 90s where black sitcoms just came out in the forefront. And it was like, oh, wait. A nuclear family, Family Matters type thing, dad, mom, kids, breakdown, and these guys are really funny, so on and so forth. And these are shows that were put in between something like Full House and I'm trying to think of the other show. There was another show that was in between that was that sandwiched Family Matters. But we didn't have much. So when it was a good show, we held on to it. But I feel like white people did the same thing. You know?
Yeah.
That's why family.
I mean, there's definitely.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Someone mentioned it in the chat. Like Seinfeld was definitely like super popular with white people then, and I think I only watched. That's another one I didn't really watch much of, but
What
I think
show?
that was another show, Seinfeld,
Oh,
where it's
dear
like
God.
in New York and everyone was white or something like that too.
Everybody,
I think that was the case.
Except one guy.
Frasier.
When he's
I
talking
never
about the
saw
boobs.
Frasier.
He's talking about the boobs. He's like, they're fantastic. That was it. He was the only black guy in the entire show. I'm like, you're telling me you don't have other black people in New York? Come on, this is New York City. You're talking about New York City. You only got one black guy? And he's talking about, they fantastic. What? Amen was a fantastic show. 227 was fantastic. Courtney, the SLP, facts. Those are great shows, too. Great shows. But like I said, you know, like, and so no. If we were going to sit here and say, if we're going to sit here and say that black people embraced sitcoms more than white people, bruh, then I'm going to sit here and go, no, you got it wrong. I think both sides of the fence embraced the shows that they liked, and they put them on a pedestal, and they let them up there for as long as they could until the sitcom genre or the sitcom wave died out. Because everybody got tired of, did I do that? Over every single day, right? After some time, you get tired of that. Or how rude, how old, how boring does that get after some time? The Rock was a great show too, but it was like a very heavy show. The Rock was amazing. Charles S. Dutton, man, that show was fantastic. Come on now. The Rock was dope. But at the same time, you're looking at these things and you're going, hey, how many times can you listen to because a lot of these shows would do like sayings or slogans or whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean? And they would just do this over and over and over again, every single show. But everybody wanted to hear that phrase. That's why like Urkel saved the show. You see what I'm saying? Saved Family Matters because he was hilarious, and everyone loved the crazy nerdy antics that he would get into. Those crazy nerdy shenanigans he would get himself into. People loved it. You know what I mean? Dynamite, exactly. You see what I'm saying? Like there's those things, and after some time, that died out. I think what happened really is that reality shows came out. Reality shows became a thing and changed the entire scope of what we look at, how we look at TV today. Go ahead, David.
I was gonna say towards the end of Family Matters, they kind of like abandoned that, I guess, like or whatever. Like with Urkel, I mean, like he was always like the comedic relief for like the first few seasons, but by the end, they were pretty much he was always like under the control of that potion that made him the sexy Urkel. And I think they were trying to sell that for a long time, which
Stefan
didn't work as well as the funny Urkel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Stefan Urkel. And then, that's the thing, but that's not only on that side of the world, on that side of the fence. It was also on the white side of the fence, too. You know, you have a lot of those saying like, have mercy. You know, you have all these sayings and stuff that were huge. Sanford and Son was a great show. Wintermute. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there were just some Good Times was fantastic as well. But there was this certain shows, and I think that realm was huge in the 90s. It kind of blew up and then died off. And I think it's all because of reality shows. I think reality show really came in and just kind of took over. Because then everybody wanted to see the drama. Everyone wanted to see the craziness. And reality shows, shooting that stuff, production-wise, is cheap as hell. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money. You don't have to pay for actors. These are real people that are just willing to be on TV and they just want to be famous. And you just pay some union guys, base pay to shoot them 24/7, cut it up, make it dramatic, put some music underneath it. Make sure one of them at least throws a drink in the other person's face. And you got yourself a reality show. Make sure they look good to a certain extent. And it's done. Yeah, you had Real World Road Rules. Then there was the Real World Road Rules Challenge. Like, you know what I mean? And it just kept going and going and going to the point where it grew into what it is now with the Real Housewives of whatevers and the Love and Hip Hops of whatevers and all the crap that came out is coming out now. Nobody really wants to see, oh, honey, what's going on? Well, you know what I mean? The teachable moments that they had in every single episode. DJ Tanner, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, Cosby Show was doing that stuff. All the teachable moments. Well, we learned something today. You know what I mean?
So ironic in retrospect, because he did do, if I remember right, I haven't watched it since I was younger, but he did do some of those, like, danger type things right before he drugged a bunch of women.
Yep. Strange. Strange danger. You know what I mean? Have a pudding pop. You know what I mean? Like, well, anyway, you know what I'm saying? Oh, good point. So Flavor Flav had Flavor of Love, and that became huge. Huge. Paris Hilton with Nicole Richie had a show. Was huge. The Simple Life, I think it was called. Something like that. But anyway, all of it was fake. It was all scripted, but they shot it like it was a reality show. And people ate that ish up. There's still sitcoms out here. They still do exist. And now they're a lot more diverse than they were before. But one of the things that I have a huge problem with is, and the reason why I never watched Friends, is because there were not ever anything out there where they represented the black community or any diversity for that matter on that show. And that's a huge issue I had. The Hills, reality shows. Oh my God, that's a flash.
I haven't seen that.
That's a flashback. You want to talk about just no black people? Check out The Hills. It's a reality show basically just with a bunch of overly privileged white kids. That's basically it. Nothing crazy.
It's like Jersey, whatever. What's that called? Yeah, but like that show in Jersey with all the like over the top Italian people. So
are you talking about Mobster Wives?
No.
I can't believe we know all this crap, by the way. This is all in our brains. You realize that? All this crap is in our mother-loving brains, y'all. Locked in our brains. And we're like, yeah, we know. But Jersey Shore.
Yeah, that was the crap.
Shout out to Zozo Bob. Good shot.
Was like,
good call, man. Yeah, it was a trash show. But it was a bunch of white people. That show was crazy, if you break it down. Bunch of white people. You feed them a whole bunch of alcohol. That's literally what they did. They're like, we promise you fame, okay? We promise you will be a household name. If you sign your name on this dotted line, you're going to be in this show, and you're going to do what we tell you to do. We're going to feed you a crap ton of alcohol, and we're just going to film you 24 hours a day. Ready? And hopefully y'all bang for controversy. And that's exactly what that show was. Let's go out.
I got another question for you.
Go for it.
All right, so
please.
Did you watch
that like
Nick
button,
at Night
guys?
When you were younger?
Say again. Sorry.
Did you like watch Nick at Night when you were younger? Because like when I was really young, I was like big into like all the 50s shows, like I Love Lucy and stuff. I was just wondering if you watched that kind of thing when you were younger.
Lucy, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I love that show.
I watched because it's funny is right when you said Nick at Night, I all of a sudden I heard. So real quick, yes, I grew up watching that stuff too. Now, I don't think anybody knows this because this was on at Nick at Night as well, but it was on at a random time because me and my family would like stay up and just like late at night on a Saturday type thing. There was a show called Lancelot Link, Secret Chimp. I'm not kidding. It was like some old 1970s show about a chimpanzee that was basically kind of like a gumshoe, like he was a detective. And all the characters as well were chimpanzees as well. Lancelot Link, secret chimp. I'm not kidding. And they would literally, do a voiceover, and they would, and he would solve crimes. Like he was like a Humphrey Bogart. Literally, trench coat, the fedora, you name it, he was wearing that stuff. And people ate that stuff up, man. That was a show. We used to watch that show, and it was on Nick at Night as well. Yeah. We used to watch it all the time. I Dream of Jeannie, I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke
Bewitched.
Show, Bewitched, all the old school stuff, which was great because you're seeing how sitcoms were and where they've, how far they've come, but it was really fascinating, and watching jokes that don't really land now anymore, where they used to sleep in separate beds and stuff. Actually, I Love Lucy was the first sitcom to ever put their beds together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just so you know. Yeah, and there was a huge controversy over that. They were saying they were so scared that people were going to stop watching her show, etc., because they were bringing in sex, or the implementation. What am I saying? That there was sex implied, because there was one point where she was pregnant and she was doing the show pregnant, literally pregnant. And they're like, and she's the biggest show and the biggest show out there, etc. And they were sitting there going like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Maybe we'll just put her behind a whole bunch of stuff. We'll put her behind a high tables and give her big coats and stuff like that. And she's like, no, put the beds together and this is reality. I'm having a baby. Let's just let it be what it is. And after some time, after much pushback, they did it anyway. And then, of course, it was embraced. And then next thing you know, the two separate bed thing started to disappear because she was one of the first people to do that. I mean, they were a real life couple. So.
Okay, I didn't know that.
What? You didn't?
I don't know anything about the actors. I just watched the show.
You didn't know that Lucy and Ricky were actual real life married couple. They were a real life married couple. And the funny thing is that Ricky was basically, okay, like the I Love Lucy show. She's like, Ricky, I want to be in the show. And she would always say that because she really wanted to be on his show. He's the bongos and all that stuff, right? The funny thing is that if in real life, they flipped the story, the roles that they played were flipped, because she was one who took over, because it was I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball. She was the star of that show. He was not. He was a star, but he wasn't as big as her. He wanted to be a bigger star than her. So the next thing you know, he's off smashing a whole bunch of girls behind her back, or actually in front of her back, actually right in her face. And she just dealt with it because they had a business to keep moving. It was $1 million show. You know what I mean? It was making lots and lots of money. So she just let him keep being. She let him keep sidestepping. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? And yeah. So in real life, he was very jealous that he could not be in the spotlight like her. But in the show, she was always trying to be in the spotlight with him. It was just funny.
It might just be like the conversation we were having. I think it was this week, but some men, especially I would think in that era, do not want to have a wife that makes more than him. And she probably was at that point. I'm sure that added some difficulties.
Yes. And Courtney just said she divorced him in real life, right? Yes, she did much later, but they still had to uphold, like they still had to present them still together. You know what I mean? The Steve Harvey Show was in the 90s. If I'm correct, it was in the 90s. But there was a lot of really great shows there too. But like I said, it's crazy that sitcoms didn't really change that much if you really think about it. It just went from being shot you know, in black and white to full HD 4K. You know what I mean? They're still doing the same breakdown of sitcoms to this day. But people are bored with them because it's the same formula over and over and over again. Yes, people are still watching a Fuller House, etc. But I feel like it's a bit of that nostalgia, you know, and it's still something that the families can watch with their kids. So it's still safe to a certain extent. There's still adult jokes that'll fly right over the kids' heads that the parents can laugh at. But then there's also jokes that they can all laugh at together. You know what I mean? And I think that part is nice. But like I said, there needs to be, you know, if there ever was to ever be another Friends type of show, they need to bring just a teensy bit more diversity up in this B for that show. That's it, you know? And I think I would be much more interested in it if that was to be true. But we got to jump into this next and final story. This is very weird. This is a weird one. Hold on, let me make sure I got... No, that's not it. Okay. So in Baltimore County, the Baltimore County Police released several edited body cam worn footage from police officers who responded after a neighbor's rampage on Maury Road in Woodlawn went down about 2 weeks ago. So this shows there's video where this gentleman, Everton Brown's town home, is engulfed in flames as police officers arrive. Now, I will say this. This video is pretty graphic. I want to give you guys a full heads up on that. All right. There is a little bit of a 911 call that I wanted to show you guys because it's a very long video. But I don't want to show the whole 911 phone calls. But there's a lot of phone calls that were made right before the cops actually showed up. Okay. And the thing is his house is on fire. And then also he was an armed man shooting at the cops as well. So we got to take a look at this video here and take a listen to some of the 911 phone calls.
26 key up 10. 1526. 1526.
209, start Wilkins and Frank.
10-4, subject found, 10-3's on a channel, getting a medic for it, 644, all units stand by.
Be back, come on, quick.
First out, let me know.
How many seconds today? I got 2 subjects down.
All right, 2 subjects down, time is 6:46 hours. 2 and 9 direct. All right, more shots fired.
And shots were fired.
Couple medics out here. 3 people down.
All right, 2 people down. More shots fired or no? All right, 3 people down. Signal 13. Time is 6:46 hours.
209, start Wilkins and Franklin and Pikesville, active shooter for now.
Right now we have the only active shooter. One house is fully engulfed, and we have another one getting on fire now.
All right, active shooter. One house is on fire, another one's on fire. Time is 6:46 hours.
Wilkins, we're all coming.
10-4, everybody's coming. We're getting Pikesville, Franklin, and Wilkins are started.
209, I need a staging area for medics.
Some real stuff is going down.
Area to guide them in.
All right, I need units at the staging area. Units on scene, are you still okay? Where's the shooter?
We have one shooter down. No confirmed second shooter. I think it's just the actual house that's blowing sparks.
All right, so 1 shooter is down. We have 3 total subjects shot and down. We have medics en route. 2 houses on fire.
So here, real quick, it's saying 1 shooter is down. Okay, they have 3 total subjects shot and down. Obviously, the medics are en route. 2 houses are on fire. Possibly no active shooter at this time. Possibly, but yeah.
No active shooter at this time.
25, just check any of our personnel hit.
Any personnel hit advice?
Negative, no police. Just a shooter.
All right, no police hit. Time is 6:48 hours.
209, did we shoot?
4. We had about 3 or 4 of us.
All right, 3 or 4 officers had shots fired. 28, go ahead.
All right, 10-4.
Okay, so there's a
I'm logging
correction.
all of you, Rick.
All right, there was 2 units that tried to log on earlier. I was 10-6. What unit are you so I can get you logged on? 244, your ID.
I have 26 with me. We're going to be in my car.
So as you can see, Ish is really about to hit the fan. So this is the actual townhouse, all right, that they are going to, all right? So they say one of the homes is already fully engulfed in flames, all right? The suspect is outside next to his vehicle, armed with a loaded handgun. And here comes the footage. Man, that's crazy.
26 house fully engulfed.
Imagine pulling up to see that, man. That's crazy, yo. Ooh, that's loud.
26 shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
Dang, look at that house, man.
Drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Go, 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 go. Move in, move in.
Wow.
DC!
Look at that house, yo. Woo!
26, shots fired, subject down.
10-4, shots fired, subject down. 6:44, your exact location.
Maureen Kelly's, Maureen Kelly's. One subject down.
10-4, subject down, 10-3 on the channel. Is a minute for it. 6:44, all units stand by.
You pass me, Come on, quick, 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 quick. Back.
Wow.
He still got the gun, He still got the gun.
Here we go. And they light him up.
Push forward. Show me your hands. Hands. Pull him out.
Fireworks?
Pull him out. I'm coming. Have medics. 2 subjects down.
What does that say? Black people are the tool used to maintain racism. That is his car. Just so you know. Black people are the tool used to maintain racism. Okay. He's still alive. Crazy. Okay. So this is a different angle here.
26, where are you at? Shots fired.
26, shots fired, subject down.
10-4, shots fired, subject down. Time is 6:44. What's your exact location?
Maureen Kelly.
Dorian Kelly. 10-4, subject down. 10-3's on the channel. Get the medics for it. 6:44. All units stand by.
Where's it? Where? Red truck! Red truck! Red truck! Red truck! Red truck!
Ain't he already down?
He's down.
I was about to say, ain't he
That's what
already
they
down?
say.
Gun next to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's down. That dude on the ground right there. That's him right there. Unless he still had his gun in his hand and he was still shooting on the ground. That could be possible too, but dude.
Yeah, he could have been.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could have been like injured and still trying to shoot, or he could have just been dead at that point. And
he ain't
you
dead.
do have nervous reactions.
I mean, he wasn't dead when they arrested him. He wasn't dead when they arrested him. Like they pulled him over, they pulled him out. He was still moving, like he was still alive when they pulled him from the red truck. But yeah, I mean, he could have been down on the ground trying to cover as well, or he could have just been shot and still trying to, you know what I mean? He might have been like, "Hey, I ain't going out without a fight." You know what I mean? Yeah. I ain't going out like no punk. That could have been it too. But hold on, let's see the rest of this. This is the different angle, and I think he's one of the cops that actually pulls Everton from the truck. Yep.
I got him. Watch him. Roll over.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's moving. He's talking. Unbelievable, y'all. Unbelievable.
And Pikesville, active shooter for him.
I got him. Yeah, we gotta get him over to the house. Get him up.
That's madness. He did have a gun holster.
We got 3 down.
3 down. Wow.
Who's here?
Oh, that's terrible.
Who's there?
That's terrible, y'all. Have mercy.
Baltimore County Police, open up. Hey, Beckett's. Get out. Don't go in there. Yeah, there's a guy in the black. The guy in the black is the shooter. In the street. Hey, Keller, go to the gun that's right by the red car. Where they at? You good? Baltimore County Police. Anybody get here? Yeah. We get out of here.
Man, of course, I'm not going to show all the angles, but as you can see, cops came in and they did their job. I mean, this is the moment where I go, hey, thank you, cops. You did your job. You know what I mean? You got a guy who goes in there, sets his whole house on fire, shoots people. He's an active shooter trying to cause some chaos. Cops came in and they did their job. What were we going to say, David?
Yeah, I agree completely in this case. My only criticism, I mean, they did their job and they did what they had to. My only criticism is they should not have been firing their pistols at that range. They should have brought out a rifle. This has nothing to do with the criminal, but it's just because they are shooting at townhomes, and pistols just aren't that accurate at that range. But thankfully, no one got hurt, so everything worked out. But yeah.
I mean,
I would say the police did what they had to. They could have just been a little more careful to avoid bystanders getting injured. Thankfully, it didn't happen.
I literally was just about to say that. Real talk. Like, there's that concern of, like, you know, not like just going and randomly shooting, and you don't know who might be behind him, who might be in the car, etc. But I feel like And that's what sucks when you're in the heat of the moment, right? When you're right there in the heat of the moment, when things are really hitting the fan, etc. Those ideas, those thoughts maybe leave the brain, and you're sitting there going, okay, we gotta do what we need to do. And that is true. Siri just said pistols aren't designed to be used from a distance, and that's very true as well. That's very, very true. But yeah, sometimes I do wish they were a little bit more careful and a little bit more precise and a little bit more precise when it comes to what they use, etc. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say I agree with you there too. I think they were obviously afraid from the way they were talking, which is very understandable in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
They were trying to get people to push forward, but no one really wanted to move out, very understandably. So I'm not surprised they used their pistols, but they should have used the rifles. I'm not giving this as a big criticism, though, because since nothing happened, it's not that big of a deal. It's just something they need to be aware of in the future. But I do think ultimately they did what they had to in this case. I just criticized them for not being as safe as they could have been in terms of bystanders. But like you said, they were afraid. I think that was very clear to me that they were afraid and anxious. So that does kind of send out more complex thoughts like that. At that point, they probably didn't even remember if they had rifles or not. So
Right.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, and you also got to remember too, Mr. Super said something that's very, very true. As soon as that first cop pulled up, he was already firing at them. That shooter, Everton Brown, was already shooting at them. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, what are you gonna do when as soon as you pull up, you're dodging bullets. I think instantly you're going, I gotta find a place, find cover, draw my weapon, and return fire. You know what I mean? Or of course, assess the area, make sure that there aren't any other people around. But at the same time, maybe a rifle isn't the first thing you think of when that happens. So, but like I said, these are the times when a cop actually, like, where I'm going, yay, cops, good job for what you did. You know what I mean? And I don't know what happened to the other people who were shot. There was 3, from what I heard in the video, from that footage, 3 other people that were shot. That were hit and shot by this particular shooter, but at the same time, I'm just thankful that it ended, and there weren't any more casualties, from those 3 people. Go ahead.
And I think it's striking too that this is very similar to the San Jose shooting. It's almost follows it to a T. I mean, he didn't go to his workplace. Maybe he was planning to. Maybe he was just planning to ambush the cops. But, I mean, he burned down his home. So I'm pretty sure that was his home as far as we know. So he's kind of going with the same thing of he knew he wasn't going to come out of this. And obviously he was not afraid of just hurting bystanders because those are townhomes. He very well, if the police didn't come, that would have burned down the entire 4 buildings in that townhouse section. And you don't know who's in those other buildings. Could be children or anything that don't know how to get out in case of a fire or get trapped. So I think he was doing the same kind of thing as the San Jose shooter. He was planning on going out, and I guess he didn't, but that's what almost happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. And, he obviously had something very interesting on the back of his car, saying, black people are used as a tool to maintain racism. I mean, obviously something was going on with him.
He was black, right?
Yes, he was, or he he had melanin. I don't know what his race is, but Everton Brown is his name. So that could be anyone. But from my understanding, he is black. And like I said, I just appreciate the cops doing what they did, and there needs to be more stories like that more often, where they come in and they save the day, and stop a man or someone from doing more harm. But anyway, guys, that's the show today. We will be jumping over to our Twitch after show hangout. So be sure to jump over to Twitch now, because we are going to be jumping in there and doing our thing over there, because we are doing a discussion about a particular, I like to call him like the prison reform version of Derek Jackson. And it's quite an interesting piece of content that you guys have just got to see this dude. You got to check this out. So we're going to be checking it out and talking about this over here on Twitch. So please join us over here, over on Twitch here in a second. It is twitch.tv/The Pascal Show. We're going to continue the conversation over there for our after show hangout. Like I said, there's a lot going on. And this particular one is just hilarious to me. So if you want to have a good time and have a good chuckle before we end our show for the weekend, please jump on over to Twitch, join us in the conversation. We're going to get going. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. All right. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys over on Twitch for our after show hangout. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Peace and wellness for the holidays. Don't cancel them. Prepare, STL. Decorate. Make it as normal as you can, but slow the spread of COVID. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Watch your distance. Prepare, STL, helping St. Louisans of color prepare and prevail.
But you see how he makes these S's in his body right here? That's where he's hanging on, and then he's moving forward with the locomotion of his ribs. That is classic Missouri rat snake right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab him before he gets into a hole. Now, these snakes are not biters. They won't bite as long as you don't squeeze them. If you just stop them like this, it'll freeze them, and then you just gently pull them back. As long as you don't squeeze them, they won't bite.
Yo, Mike, what's up, man?
Guy? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, so Sugar Fire.
Yeah.
Fully open, right?
Yeah, we're pretty much open. So you can't sit inside yet. Monday you can sit inside a little bit. We'll have 25% of the tables inside, and then we're letting it rip outside.
So I know that there's a lot of people really concerned about staying safe and all of that.
No,
so what are you guys doing in regards to that?
Well, we have extra people to clean, rub everything down all the time. Everybody inside's wearing masks. And we have those little stickers on the ground so everyone can stay 6 feet apart.
Right on.
The tables are all spaced out, inside and outside.
Sugar Fire, open in full effect right now. They're staying healthy, they're staying clean. Go get you a rack of ribs. Sugar Fire, open right now.
Thanks.
The Fur and Leather Center, providing the highest of fur and leather goods.